All right, let's talk about something fascinating. That fierce, almost stubborn self-reliance you see in some people. It's actually got a name, hyperindependence. And today we're going to dig into the hidden reasons why some people are so driven to go it completely alone. I mean, you've seen this before, right? Maybe you even are this person. Someone who just flat out refuses help, even when they're clearly struggling. They just won't let anyone in. It can be kind of baffling, but there's a reason for it, and we're about to get into it.
You know, it's so easy to just write this off as someone being stubborn or, just too proud. But what if it's not that at all? What if it's something way deeper? It turns out this isn't just some personality quirk. It's a full-on protective strategy. And that brings us to the core idea here, hyper-independence. It's a protective strategy that's usually forged way back in childhood. It happens when a kid learns, for whatever reason, that relying on themselves is the only safe way to get through life. And that's not just a choice, right? It becomes this deep-seated coping mechanism that they carry with them their whole lives.
Okay, so what does this actually look like in the real world? Well, we can actually break it down into 4 pretty distinct archetypes. I love this analogy. Think of them like 4 different blueprints people use to build their own personal fortress of solitude.
So let's dive into the first one. And this one is rooted in a really powerful and honestly a kind of sad idea. Just try to imagine learning as a little kid that showing your feelings, any feelings, is dangerous, that it's going to lead to pain or getting dismissed or even punished.
This is what we call the frozen survivor. For this person, vulnerability, that's not a strength. Nope, it is a huge liability. They learned early on that feelings were unsafe, so they built walls, really high ones. For them, solitude isn't about being lonely. It's a sanctuary. It's the one place in the whole world where they finally feel emotionally safe. All right, now let's switch gears to a totally different flavor of self-reliance. This one is summed up by a phrase that I bet a lot of you have heard growing up. This one's way less about emotional danger and way more about just practical, roll-up-your-sleeves necessity.
And this is the 70s child mindset. I mean, think about it. Kids who were raised to be super resourceful. No cell phone to call for help, no adult hovering over them 24/7. They just had to figure things out. So for them, self-reliance wasn't some big emotional shield. It was a skill, a tool you needed just to get by. It's independence as a practical life skill, not a fortress.
Okay, on to archetype number 3, and I'm pretty sure we all either know someone who says this or, hey, maybe we're the ones saying it. This one is all about managing a very limited resource, your personal energy. Yeah, this is the lone wolf, and their whole motivation? It's about preserving energy. They have this thing called a solitude capacity, basically a fundamental need to be alone just to recharge their batteries. For the lone wolf, being around people can be absolutely draining. So being alone isn't about hiding from people, it's just essential self-care. It's how they manage their energy.
And that brings us to our final archetype. This one is driven by something completely different, something much more strategic. This is the person who plays their cards very close to the chest, and for a really good reason.
Let me introduce you to the success architect. This person is all about strategy. They work alone, but it's not because they're scared or because they need to recharge. No, for them, it's a tactic. They keep their big plans under wraps to keep other people's opinions, their doubts, their interference completely out of the equation. Solitude is their tool for getting things done with laser focus.
So, there you have it, our 4 archetypes. Now, let's just lay out their core motivations side by side. I think seeing it all together really makes the why behind each one click into place.
Okay, look at this. You can see the core differences so clearly. The frozen survivor, they're after emotional safety. The 70s child mindset, that's all about learned necessity. The lone wolf is trying to preserve their energy. And the success architect, they want that strategic advantage. It's fascinating, right? 4 totally different reasons that all lead to the same kind of solitary behavior. Now, it's really important to say this. These are not rigid boxes you have to fit into. The truth is, most of us are probably a little bit of a mix, right? Think of them more like patterns of protection that we've built up bit by bit over a whole lifetime.
And that really leaves us with one last big question to ask ourselves. When you think about your own self-reliance, is it a tool? Something flexible that you pull out when you need it? Or has it become more of a fortress, something that keeps you safe for sure, but maybe it's also keeping other people out? Definitely something to chew on. Thanks so much for tuning in.